Hi and welcome to this video blog with me, Wayne, from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, I'm back from Cape Verde refreshed and reinvigorated after being in 27 to 28 degree heat. Coming back to -1 at midnight was not particularly pleasant, and this sort of weather reminds you how nice it is to get out in the warmth and actually get some really nice training in. Being in water, open water, that was sort of 24 to 26 degrees, where you entered and you didn't think, oh, that's cold, it was just fantastic. I recommend it for anyone. Get away to some warm weather if you can. Unfortunately, you have to go pretty far at this time of year to actually get the warm weather. So, if you can, get out there, get some warm weather, it'll do you some good. But this week, I thought I'd cover something that really struck me whilst we were away, doing the camp for the first week. The individual analysis of running, and this rarely happens. Lots of people have their swimming filmed, but very few people have their running filmed, and it can tell you a lot just in a few simple videos. And if you have a video that can actually slow down the action so you can catch exactly what you're doing, that becomes important. And we did both high density and we did slow motion video, and it's surprising that the high density doesn't actually have sufficient detail that the slow motion does. So we're going to head over to the computer in a second and just show you exactly what you can get from slow motion video and how that can help your running. It certainly did on our camp in Cape Verde this November.
Okay, so here we are looking at Dave, who is a newish triathlete, but he has a history of semi-pro sport in the past and has also run a half marathon in 1:36, so he's not a bad runner. However, he's just come back from an injury and came to our camp to sort of try and perfect his triathlon training. He wants to beat someone in particular in the summer. And here we take 3 different speeds of video to see if style changes as someone speeds up, which should tend to happen. This is the first one, and you can see that Dave is landing just in front of his body line. And if we take that back, you'll see that virtually is the landing point. And forward again. There we go. And the knees are quite far apart. The landing point slightly in front of the body, and because of that, if you look at Dave's waistband against the background of that line, you'll see that he dips, you'll see it come down, and then he drives up and the waistband goes above that line. It's quite a good reason why we like filming in front of this particular wall, which has these 3 sort of steps on it. Because we can see if someone's driving down and up. With the other foot, it does exactly the same, landing in front, knees apart, and then down and up. You can see that complete change and rise upwards as he does that. I'll take it backwards, you'll see exactly the same thing. There we go. That's quite a big drive upwards. And Dave has said that since his injury and recovery, he hasn't felt as if he's leaning forward enough in his running, which he used to do when he was a semi-pro athlete. Second speed, and you can see it's exactly the same story. The landing and weight-bearing leg is in front of him as he lands, dips, and then rises up. You can see that above the highest point, above the actual line on the back of the wall. And in the third, the fastest running, again we're slightly closer in the knees, but we still have a landing point slightly in front of the body. He's dipping there below that line. You can see there's the low point, you can see the knees bent, dipped to there, and up we go. The high point is actually taking his midriff above that line, but his actual running form isn't bad. It's just that if we can, we'd like to speed him up and get him back to running in that particular way. So that's what slow motion can do. We can actually catch all of the action as he's actually running forward. You can see the toe off in reverse, and we can go for the toe off forward. The toe off isn't bad, it's just happening slightly too low because he's dipped into that heel, because the landing has been in front of his body weight. That is a reasonably good position. Now, all we did to Dave was say, okay, well, let's speed your legs up. You can see here, this is another landing point, and his knees are far closer together. And if you look, as we take it back and forward, bang, those knees really come together very fast. All we've done is we've shortened his stride and sped it up. He's had to speed up because we're running through this reasonably fast. And you can see the actual rise that he has, and the other leg nearly flat. There we go, we've landed. He's also not heel striking anymore. He's actually landing exactly over his body weight, and those knees are coming together much more. When the knees are spread apart, your body weight's spread, and you can't run as fast. So we'll take that back again. There we go. So as we come to that leg, we've landed. He's not heel struck. The landing point's just about there, and the knees are virtually together, which is what we want. So we now have a line through the body that goes right up through all the connections of the ankle, the hip, and the shoulder, and that's actually in one line. Second leg landing, and you can see again. Yeah, I think we've got the landing point there, probably. The knees just slightly apart. Again, if you take the ankle, hips slightly behind, shoulders in line, but that's much more in line with his body weight. His whole body is absolutely over that leg as it lands, which means he can transfer weight quickly to the front leg, and off he goes. If we just run that through, you can see he's running in a lot greater form than he did before. Now, he can't keep that up for an incredible amount of time at the moment. He would find that slightly difficult. He doesn't have to do that particularly fast. We'll just take that all the way back and show you again. So here he is running in. But that's the type of style that we want Dave to run in, as opposed to sinking into that ankle. And that's how he felt that he was running now suddenly, leaning into his run, leaning into his chest, as opposed to sinking into his heel. You can see here he's running through that fairly fast. This is a slow motion video. It's done at 230 frames a second. So you do get incredibly good detail of the landing point. And it is quite useful to note that he's changed from a heel strike to a mid or a forefoot strike on either foot. Okay, so that's what you can do with slow motion video. You can analyze something, look at ways to improve, and then try and get little practices that will help you improve. Now, what we've said to Dave is don't go out for a 10-kilometer run. Start small and keep that style going time and time again, and eventually that will be cemented in your muscle memory, and you'll be taking 10-kilometer runs in that same style, and you'll be running fairly fast. Okay, well, that's this week's blog. We'll see you next week with another delectable slice of triathlon life. Thanks very much.